Hey there you, long time no see. My name is Snutt, I'm one of the community managers at Coffee Stain Studios, and it's been a while since we saw each other last. So most of us here at Coffee Stain have been on vacation for the last couple of weeks, very nice. But we're back now and we're picking up sort of where we left off, which is to stabilize Update 6 so we can bring it over to the Early Access branch, which is what we're going to be talking about in this video. So, quick rewind. Remember that we launched Update 6 on the experimental branch of Satisfactory back in June. The reason why the update has been on the experimental branch for so long is partly because of scheduling reasons, but also because Update 6 is the start of a shift of how we develop the game, where we're prioritizing development decisions that will better lead towards finishing the game as a whole and leave early access. Instead of focusing on what we can make in the time frame between updates, we've decided to allocate working partly on stuff that will take significantly longer to develop and partly on the stuff that goes into updates. So therefore, Update 6 is a much smaller update, and we'll be working on a more like iterative fashion on it, while it's been on the experimental branch, which you, by the way, can access by either right-clicking on the game in Steam, select Properties, and in the Betas tab, you can select to reinstall the game from the experimental branch, or if you got it through the Epic's Games Launcher, then both versions of the game should show up in your library so you can pick which one you want to install. So when is Update 6 coming to the default Early Access branch? So short answer is this month. The long answer is
this month.
So we're on the final stretch of stabilizing the build, so it should be ready in a few weeks. There's like 1 or 2 dates this month we have our eyes on, but unfortunately at the time of recording this, we don't feel 100% confident to announce a date just yet, because we need to get a better understanding of the current state of the build to be sure we can commit to a specific date. As soon as we know, we will let you all know. We'd rather let you know sooner rather than later, believe me. We'll put out that information as soon as we can, but it shouldn't be too long from now. On the topic of Update 6, there are a couple of things I want to talk about as well. First of all, one of the major changes in this update is the creature AI and all the systems sort of surrounding creature AI. These were systems that were long overdue for a refactor for us, so we essentially rewrote these systems from scratch for Update 6. And while we're happy with the rewrite, it's also taken a bit longer than we anticipated, and it also introduced a couple of new issues, as some of you may have noticed. I mean, this was, sort of expected on our end, but one thing we didn't expect was that it would take so long to sort of implement the creature behavior changes. So creatures aren't quite where we want them to be for Update 6, but we're gonna keep iterating on this, and once the update is out on early access, we're gonna keep working on it. So what I'm trying to say here essentially is that more things are planned for creatures in the future as they currently lack polish. There are a few more alterations of the creatures we want to put in the game, and there's a completely new creature we've been working on that we haven't unveiled yet. So yeah, there's more to come on that front essentially. So this week we rolled out the first patch on experimental since coming back from vacation. As I mentioned before, we're focusing on stabilizing the build and fixing crashes and bugs, but we also introduced a couple of goodies in this patch that I kind of wanted to bring up. One of which is how it's now possible to build pipes without indicators on them. So if you want a more clean look of your pipe segments and you know they work as intended and you know how they flow and stuff like that, you can now build them in that fashion. You can also now apply materials to quarter pipe foundations. When we introduced the customizer in Update 5, we didn't have enough time to implement material switching for all the buildables we had in mind. So now we finally got around to it. We've also added headlights to trains, and finally, super excited about this one, all right? A lot of people have asked us, why can there only be one Pioneer in the Explorer at a time when the Explorer clearly have 2 seats? Well, we finally decided to address this, all right? I'm super happy to announce that we fixed this, okay? The Explorer now only has 1 seat. All right, yeah, we fixed it. Good for us, all right? Thanks everyone for pointing this out to us. We couldn't have done it without you, all right? There's of course a bunch of other stuff in this patch, like bug fixes and localization updates, so please check the patch notes below if you want to learn more about this specific patch. And with that being said, there's going to be a couple of more patches rolling out on experimental to make sure the build is stable up until we finalize it for early access. And with that being said, that's going to be it for me today. As soon as we know, we will post on our socials and or whatever. When it's in September, we will roll out Update 6 on early access, so stay tuned for that. But until then, have a good one. This is Snutt signing out. All right, see ya. Ciao! Woo! I guess that's an outro again.